I helped my friend break up with her toxic partner. Now she's mad at me for ruining her relationship. I honestly need to get this off my chest and hear from others. I'm in a weird situation, and I honestly don't know if I did the right thing or if I've messed up my friendship for good. I'm hoping you can help me figure out if I'm the asshole here. For context, I, 28F, have been friends with Rachel, 29F, since we were in high school. We've always been close and we've been through a lot together. When Rachel started dating Noah, 30M, about 2 years ago, I was supportive, even though I noticed a few red flags early on. Noah seemed like a charming guy at first, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't quite right. As time went on, I started seeing more and more things that made me uncomfortable, and eventually Rachel started opening up to me about the issues in their relationship. But now, well, things have completely fallen apart, and I'm left questioning everything. At the start of their relationship, Noah seemed like the perfect guy, polite, funny, good-looking. Rachel was smitten, and as her best friend, I was happy for her. I'll be honest, at first, I didn't really see any huge issues, but over the next few months, I started noticing some things that didn't sit right with me. Rachel would occasionally mention how Noah would make subtle comments about her appearance. Stuff like, "That dress makes your hips look bigger than they are," or, "Maybe you shouldn't eat so much if you want to fit into that dress." Little digs here and there. At first, I thought maybe I was overreacting, but then I began noticing the pattern. Every time Rachel would get dressed up or talk about her body, Noah's comments seemed to follow. Then there was the controlling side of him. Rachel would talk about how he didn't like her going out with friends without him, and how he always had to know where she was or what she was doing. She would often text him to check in, even when we were just hanging out at a cafe. When Rachel went on a trip with me and a couple of other friends for a weekend, Noah insisted on calling her at least twice a day. She would complain about it, but then she'd justify it by saying, "He just loves me so much. He gets anxious when I'm not around." But it wasn't just that. There were times when Rachel seemed emotionally drained. She'd get really upset when she would talk about Noah's reactions to things. She'd tell me that he'd get mad over the smallest stuff, like if she didn't text him back right away or if she didn't cancel plans to hang out with him. It was all starting to feel like a classic case of emotional manipulation, but I didn't want to judge her relationship too quickly. She was an adult, and she seemed genuinely in love. I wasn't sure how to bring up my concerns without coming off as a jealous friend. A few months ago, Rachel came to me in tears. She told me that Noah had gone through her phone and read some of her messages with a guy friend from college. Apparently, the guy had sent her a compliment, and Noah flipped out, accusing her of cheating. The whole situation was pretty extreme, and I could tell Rachel felt utterly defeated. She told me that Noah had called her a liar and a slut, and that he threatened to leave her if she didn't cut off all contact with her male friends. That was when I finally spoke up. I told Rachel that what Noah was doing wasn't healthy, and it seemed like he was controlling her in ways that weren't okay. She didn't seem to fully see it at the time, but she admitted she didn't feel like herself anymore and didn't want to keep arguing with him all the time. I told her that maybe she should consider taking a step back and thinking about whether or not this relationship was truly making her happy. Rachel seemed torn. She was scared to lose him, and the thought of breaking up was weighing heavily on her. I reassured her that she deserved to be in a relationship where she felt respected and free to be herself. But even though she acknowledged the red flags, she kept telling me that Noah wasn't always like this, and that he had his good moments. A couple of weeks after that conversation, Rachel called me in tears once again. Noah had pushed her boundaries even further. This time, it was over a disagreement about her career choices. Rachel had been offered a great job opportunity in another city, and while she was excited about it, Noah didn't want her to take it. He told her that if she moved, he would break up with her because he didn't want her getting too successful or getting attention from other guys. I was absolutely furious. To me, this was a total deal breaker. But when Rachel called me to vent, she seemed uncertain. She told me that she didn't know if she should take the job because it might ruin things with Noah. She even said, "I don't want to hurt him. He might never forgive me if I leave." That was when I stepped in and pushed harder. I told Rachel that she was selling herself short. She had worked so hard for this opportunity, and no relationship, especially not one with Noah, should stand in the way of her career and happiness. I was blunt with her, maybe too blunt. "Rachel, you are not his property. If he truly loved you, he wouldn't try to control your career or your choices." For the first time, I think Rachel really listened. She seemed scared, but she agreed that something needed to change. A few days after that conversation, Rachel made the decision to break up with Noah. I was relieved at first, thinking that she was finally seeing things clearly, but I didn't anticipate what would happen next. She asked me to come over to her place when she broke the news to him. I was there for moral support, but I had no idea that my presence would make things worse. Noah was furious. He didn't take the breakup well at all, and things quickly escalated. He accused Rachel of being ungrateful for everything he had done for her. He called her selfish and unloving. He even threatened to spread rumors about her and destroy her reputation if she didn't take him back. Rachel was visibly shaken, but she stood firm. I was proud of her in that moment, but Noah's emotional manipulation didn't stop. He tried guilt-tripping her by saying that he had sacrificed so much for her and that she was throwing everything away for a stupid job and empty promises from me. I stayed quiet during the whole ordeal, giving Rachel the space to make her decision. She insisted the breakup was final, and Noah stormed out of her apartment, vowing never to speak to her again. I thought it was over. Rachel seemed relieved, but it didn't take long for the fallout to begin. After the breakup, Rachel seemed to spiral. She wasn't as upbeat as she usually was, and she started to second-guess her decision. A few days after the breakup, I noticed she was texting Noah again. At first, I didn't want to interfere, but I couldn't ignore the fact that she was acting like she'd never broken up with him. Then came the real kicker. Rachel started blaming me for the breakup. She told me that if I hadn't pushed her so hard, if I hadn't been so blunt, she might still be with Noah. She said that I ruined her relationship and that I didn't understand how much Noah really loved her. She said I was too harsh and that I forced her into a decision she wasn't ready to make. I was shocked. I didn't think she would go back to him, but I also didn't think she'd be mad at me for helping her get out of an unhealthy relationship. I tried to explain to her that I was only looking out for her, but she didn't want to hear it. She told me that it wasn't my place to tell her what to do and that I shouldn't have pushed her so hard. It felt like a slap in the face. For weeks she stopped returning my texts, and when we did talk, it was always short and tense. She started hanging out with Noah again, and soon enough they were back together. But I couldn't shake the feeling that she was only doing it because of guilt and manipulation, not because she was happy. I've tried to give her space, but it's been almost a month, and I don't know how to handle the situation anymore. Rachel and I aren't talking as much, and I'm starting to wonder if our friendship is permanently damaged. I've tried to let her know that I'm here for her no matter what, but every time I bring up the breakup or her relationship with Noah, she shuts me down. So now I'm asking, did I overstep? Should I have let Rachel handle things on her own, even though I could see the toxic patterns in her relationship? I genuinely thought I was helping her, but now I'm second-guessing everything. Is there a way to repair our friendship, or is this something I need to accept and move on from?